Alright guys, my name is Shervin. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk about what's going on in the housing market. Because over the past year, the average price of a home in Canada has gone down approximately 12%. And there's also a ton of speculation about further drops in prices potentially throughout 2023. But on the other hand, there's also been some newfound optimism about a potential market recovery, mostly due to the fact that it seems that the Bank of Canada is going to decrease the rate hikes going forward. Now, of course, we've gone through speculation, market reports, and predictions many times before on this channel. And this time I wanted to do something a little bit different and get a behind the scenes look at what is actually going on in the Canadian housing market. Which is why I reached out to Justin Konikow, who is a real estate agent in London, Ontario, and a fellow YouTuber. And he was kind enough to come on the channel and give us a detailed outlook at what was going on in the housing market over the past year, as well as how the buyer and the seller mentality have changed over the past month or so. And of course, he's going to break down what that means for you if you're someone who's looking to either buy or sell in this market. But before we get into that, if you are new here and you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the subscribe button down below and join the community. I make new videos about personal finance and investing on a regular basis. And by subscribing, you get to see all my new videos right as they come up. Also, if you enjoyed the video and want to support me even more, then do me a favor and smash the like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. But alright, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, the first thing I asked Justin was to give us a detailed outlook at what the market was like over the past year. Because again, as a real estate agent, he's in the field every single day, and he gets to see up close what the buyer and the seller sentiment is. And this is what he had to say in response.
I mean, last January, we were coming out of one of the craziest Decembers we've ever seen. I don't think that there was a pause. I remember January 2022, we were busy before Christmas. We were writing deals like literally, I think Christmas Eve, I had to turn my phone off, going right into New Year's, and it just carried right through the year into February, which was the peak, right? I think looking back now, everybody recognizes that February was kind of that peak of that market sentiment. Bank of Canada started cranking rates down as of March, April, May, June, and it just continued on and on. They absolutely crushed the buyer sentiment and put people in a position where they just didn't know what to do, right? So if I want to go through like the emotional roller coaster of buyers and sellers, initially, you know, it was chaos trying to acquire a home. You had to name your next kid after the homeowner to even have a shot. And then it went into the summertime and it was crickets because, you know, we'd never seen the light switch turned off so quickly in the real estate market. And it came after they cranked rates about 3 to 4 times in a row with large increases, like 50 basis points, 1 full basis point. And the media got a hold of it and people really decided that they were going to wait. And I think the main reason that they waited from a sentiment perspective was they're like, we have no idea when the end is in sight. Like this could be a 2 or 3 year thing. When people were looking at the history of recessions, recoveries sometimes would take 6 to 10 years, right? So but what we noticed is the summertime, that sentiment dropped off a cliff. We went into, you know, education mode. Like our transactions actually surpassed the year before. Like we didn't really slow down because my brokerage, we do commercial residential investing. So when residential slows down, commercial tends to pick up or investments tend to pick up. Like we were still transacting. It's just up or down markets, we still do business. But where I was really trying to figure things out was, how do I guide my clients? How do I give them good market intelligence? How do I make sure that they know how to navigate? So I spent 3 to 4 months working with my team, running the book clubs, working with people across North America, which brought us into the fall. So I'll pop in the market, declining price points still, right? And we would notice it was about 30% from the peak down to that price point. So all the gains from October 2021 to 2022 or to February were leveled out, but the trajectory was still going up. Enter fall 2023, and it's still a lot of uncertainty, but the Bank of Canada made a rate announcement in December saying, well, now we're seeing an adjustment in inflation and we're going to slow down on the hikes, right? And now they're coming into January saying, you know, we're really going to watch after this next rate hike, and people are already forecasting a halt in hikes. The buyer sentiment in January was like a rocket out of a cannon. All of a sudden, showings, offers. One of the reasons that people are snapping up deals is they're realizing that if this trend continues and the buyer sentiment comes back, the same deals they could have bought 3 or 4 months ago might not be around. Do I think it's going to be overnight? No. I still think that we may be in for a further correction for another 8 to 12 months, but cycles come to an end eventually. So I'd be cautious for people that think this is going to last forever.
Now, another topic that we've discussed many times before on this channel is timing the market, and essentially how experts recommend that you don't try to time the market and you only buy whenever you're ready to buy, regardless of what's happening in the market. So I asked Justin on his perspective on this advice because again, he's a real estate agent, he's giving people advice on a day-to-day basis, and he gets to see what decisions yield good results for the buyers and which ones do not. So I thought I'd get his thoughts on this, and this is what he had to say.
Today's always the best time to buy. Just kidding. Nothing's completely true and nothing's completely false, right? Like just like saying every real estate agent is just greedy and wants a paycheck and just wants to list the property for as low as possible to get a quick sale. That's just not true. I literally just listed a place and I'm going to list it at 1.4. I could have convinced them to list for 1.2, but property's probably worth 1.4. So we're going to go that route and we're going to push for the sale. Answer your question the exact same way. I think when it comes to, when is the right time to buy, I think when the opportunity exceeds the risk, right? Like if you're somebody that the increasing rates is going to make you foreclose on your house and you're not going to be able to close on the property that you're acquiring, you probably shouldn't be buying anything, right? You're probably in a house that's worth too much money and you're probably spending too much on your groceries and Netflix and everything else. Like you should probably get your financial house in order. But if you're somebody that has cash in the bank and a property that cash flows well as an investment, you can buy for $1 million versus 500,000, and you believe that over time the market will rebound, and you're not buying to day trade real estate, and you can buy that asset for $1 million cash. You don't care what the rates do, but if you wait 5 or 10 years and you add $500,000 to your balance sheet, I think that's a pretty good deal, right? So there's two examples of like, well, here's a situation where you shouldn't buy, and here's one where you should. I think here's my message is I think people should understand the macro of what's happening from a global and a national perspective, but I think they should act in the micro, and deals are micro. And I think it's a case by case basis.
Now, I also wanted to use this opportunity to see if there is any advice he would give anyone who is trying to buy in such a market. So I basically asked him if he had a friend who was looking to buy in this market, what are some advice he would give that person so that they don't get taken advantage of, and also they don't make any mistakes that they will regret later on. And this is what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, not all agents are created equal, both mortgage and real estate agents and lawyers for that factor, right? So first thing I would tell them is get a power team. It's literally free when you're buying. So make sure you have somebody that knows the product that they're actually shopping in. If it's new construction, somebody that has experience dealing with builders and understands new home contracts. If it is a new home and you have a new build contract, a lawyer that understands new build contracts because they're very in-depth. And then on the mortgage side, somebody that also understands that product type, right? And I don't think, you can find these people very easily. Typically, I'd say go by referral and find 3 of each, interview 3 of each, and go with one that actually knows their stuff and has their answers. I'd say you don't want people that aren't just trying to push you into a product for a paycheck. People that are in the mortgage business, a lot of times they'll tell you what they think is happening, but the most important thing that they actually do is access to different lending vehicles and the way that they can explain those to you. So if you don't feel like you're getting a cohesive explanation as to the lending policy that you're signing, find somebody else or somebody that can actually explain it to you. And here's a huge caveat. You're signing a contract for hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars for a property. Read the contract. Right. The amount of people that don't read the contracts that they sign and just assume whoever they're working with is working in their best interest, it doesn't excuse you from the risk that you took by signing the contract. I kind of want to make a point to that because I think every contract that's significant that I've signed, I've read the language. And when I have questions, I ask questions. On the agent side, same thing. And I would look more than anything from market intelligence. I would never go to a seller directly unless the opportunity far outweigh the risk. And it was an asset class that I was very well versed in, right? So there's certain investments that me and my wife purchase and things that we do in the investment world. And I know my level of confidence. If it's something that I think needs another set of eyes on it, especially in the due diligence period, get a buyer's agent. They are going to work in your best interest. A listing agent is not working in your best interest. They are legally bound to serve the seller. And if you feel like you can represent yourself, go for it. But sometimes if you think hiring a professional is expensive, you should see how expensive it is to hire an amateur or do it yourself.
Now, before we wrap up, I wanted to give a special thank you to Justin for coming on here and sharing his experience. Like I mentioned before, he also has his own YouTube channel where he shares even more insights and behind the scenes information. And I'm going to leave a link to his channel in the description down below. Make sure to go over there, check his stuff out, give him a subscribe, and let him know I sent you. Also, you can reach him on Twitter and Instagram. I will leave a link to those down here as well. And if you happen to live around London, Ontario, and you have any questions about the market, his DMs are always open, so feel free to reach out and take advantage. But that's about it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you haven't done so already, make sure to smash the subscribe button down below and join the community. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shervin House. I'll leave a link to those down below as well. And as always, if you have any questions about any of the stuff that we talked about in this video, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. I always respond to every single question that comes in. And now with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.